Here's a really big one. Repetitive movements. Jumping, rocking, pacing, and speech. Talking about favorite topics or interests.
Yeah.
That's one that's going to be big on the video I do because that's always been a very big thing for you.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, even as a child, I would jump from interest to interest.
But you had a few that were like you stuck with. Like wrestling was like one that lasted for years, and you were absolutely obsessed with it.
I was obsessed with wrestling, and like
you were gonna be a wrestler. You went to the Hall of Fame and met people. And
yep, I went to the Hall of Fame. I met George the Animal Steele, who just recently passed away. I met the Fabulous Moolah. I met Mick Foley. I met, who was his tag team partner? Mick Foley. Who was his tag team partner?
I don't remember.
I'll have to look that up. But I met him, his tag team partner, whoever it was. I can't remember the guy's name. But yeah, I met all those wrestlers. Growing up, I was hellbound and determined that when I got older, I was going to be a wrestler.
We even looked into schools.
I was going to be in the WWE, and I wanted my character, when I got there, to be like a cross between The Undertaker and Triple H.
Mm-hmm. I even think at one point you had a name picked out.
I did, but I can't remember what it was.
I can't remember what it was either. I mean, you were like extreme, and that's all you talked about.
Was wrestling.
Wrestling.
Like as a kid, it was, when I was growing up, it was dinosaurs. I loved anything dinosaurs. I wanted to know everything there was about them.
That started with your brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he had a book that he gave you, and that's where it started.
Yep.
Yep. So I remember that. It was dinosaurs and it wasn't Matchbox cars, but there was something along that.
Yeah, but yeah, first it was dinosaurs, and then it was wrestling.
And then in there, it's always been music.
Yeah, somewhere in there, like when I was into wrestling, one of my favorite things to do was, like, I had a collection of wrestling CDs, and it had all the wrestlers' theme music, and I would just sit there for hours on end listening to the theme music from my favorite wrestlers.
Yeah, so that was another big thing. Yeah, the music's always been in there.
It has. And then shortly after wrestling ended, it was music, and it's been that way since I was like 13 or 14.
Yeah.
It's been music.
That's your life.
And like, as far as like sticking to one thing and being like, no, this is it. Back when I was into wrestling, I kind of still am a little bit. I watch it. But when I was really into it as a kid, there was like a time where I would jump from who was my favorite wrestler, and I think at one point it was Sergeant Slaughter.
Yep.
Another time it was the Ultimate Warrior.
Yep.
And I think for like a week or so it was like Shawn Michaels was my favorite.
Yeah. That didn't last long, and I think that was just because I liked Marty Jannetty, so you had to like Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. But then I watched The Undertaker.
And met him.
And I met The Undertaker. I met The Undertaker? When did I meet The Undertaker? Because I don't remember that.
Oh no, it was your dad that met The Undertaker.
Oh yeah, my father. I will save that story for another video. My father met The Undertaker.
Sorry to bother you.
But no, I was here in, well, not here because we're not there, but in Albany, New York. There was an arena, and it used to be called the Knickerbocker Arena, and then they changed it to the Pepsi Arena, and now it's the Times Union Center. But back when it was the Pepsi Arena, I went to a live event for wrestling, and I saw The Undertaker wrestle live.
Uh-huh.
And, like, it was awesome watching him wrestle on TV, especially with his entrance. That was like one of the most badass entrances in wrestling history. But once I got to see him wrestle live, that was it. It was The Undertaker's my favorite wrestler. And even when I stopped watching wrestling for like 3 years, he was still my favorite wrestler, and he always will be. Like, to me personally, nobody is as good as The Undertaker, you know? And like when I met TJ in middle school, that was one of the things we connected through was wrestling. And, like, how I am with The Undertaker, like, that's the best wrestler ever, he's a legend. He's that way with Shawn Michaels.
Oh.
Like, that's his favorite of all time.
Okay. Got off on a tangent then.
Yes, I did. See, again.
Talking about favorite topics. Look at that.
Yeah.
But the other part of that was the